So let's talk about some reaction. Because there was a lot. And I went to bed feeling like I'm alone on an island because everyone on Twitter went, this was well before Trump's speech was over because I checked out a lot. I couldn't listen to the whole thing. But about 15, 20 minutes in, I was like kind of doing a little yikes. You know what I mean? Like I was doing my yikes face. But I was looking at Twitter and everybody universally was like, this is a masterpiece. This is a master class on how to do a convention speech. And I was like, I'm crazy. Like, clearly I am missing something. And so I'm going to go to bed. And so I went to bed. And then this morning when I woke up and the whole thing had actually been concluded, then I realized I was not alone. But reaction was all over the place. And I will absolutely share all the different things. Now, this was before the speech. And again, like Kaylee, Scott Jennings was preparing me for something that was going to be like earth-shatteringly amazing. He said he'd seen a big chunk of the speech beforehand and said, buckle up, because he's about to blow the doors off and rise to the occasion. And that was not my impression, but I'm sure there were a lot of people who did feel that that is exactly what it did. And I am glad that they felt that way. Martha McCallum, immediately after when the balloons were dropping, here was her initial take, which I thought
this is the moment that his opponents have tried to take away from him every which way they possibly could. And look, we all covered this primary process for a long time. Nobody ever thought you were going to see this moment. It's time to move on, time for new blood. You and I did a debate here. The stage was full of other candidates. So this is a moment of victory for former President Trump, who hopes to be future President Trump once again.
She's absolutely right. 100%.
Mm-hmm. And I look at the whole convention as a whole.
Yes.
And it was awesome.
I hope people do that. It was
really awesome. It's like the best one ever.
Yeah.
So, naysayers can suck it. They can all suck it.
Scott Jennings, very still excited afterwards. And I think he was like comparing it to the Democrats' plight.
The Republican Party after 1 week ban is still the party of fun, and the party of democracy is down the street plotting a political coup against the sitting president of the United States.
It's true. It is a coup. They are plotting a coup. And then they're like, oh my God, democracy. It's like, shut up. You guys are falling apart and we are unifying. And our party's awesome and we're classy and we love America. And they are they're a wreck. They're a wreck and they're commies. Do you want to be a part of that? I want no part of that. I am exactly where I belong. That's what this week solidified for me.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely right. This morning, when I saw some of these reaction clips and read some of the tweets and stuff, then I started to feel like, okay, so it wasn't just me that was feeling like it didn't live up to the hype exactly. Not that I didn't love parts of it, because I did, but again, just from an overall perspective, Trump's speech specifically was not what I expected. And here is Jake Tapper's immediate reaction.
I hope this doesn't sound harsh, but then it pretty much became the kind of speech we generally hear from Donald Trump at rallies, where he went off script and riffed and ad-libbed. We were told he wasn't going to even mention President Biden's name. He mentioned it at least twice. Very much the same Donald Trump that we are used to.
So that was Jake. And then David Axelrod was like delighted about the performance, and not in a good way.
This is the first good thing that's happened to Democrats in the last 3 weeks. I mean, this really reminded everyone why Donald Trump is fundamentally unpopular outside this room.
Oh my God, whatever. Well, David Axelrod, he's got screws loose. That guy is mentally incapable of even like forming he's just an idiot. Come on.
And then there was Ben.
All right, so that was the final night of the Republican National Convention. And boy, that was a hell of a show. So you had Kid Rock doing his routine. You had Hulk Hogan, who was a late addition to the night, ripping his shirt open to reveal his MAGA gear underneath, which, of course, the crowd erupted for that. And then you had President Trump give, I'd say, 20 minutes of the most riveting speech I have ever seen in my entire life.
Right.
And then another hour and 10 minutes of other stuff.
You give.
That's totally how I felt.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't a gift to Democrats. I mean,
if they're looking at it that way, it does give me pause. You know what I mean? Like if they're like, oh my God, that is so great for us. That's not good. You know what I mean? Like if
They
they're
already
thinking
hate
that's
him.
a win for them.
but I mean, listen, they already hate him anyway.
True.
So they're already not going to vote for the guy anyway. So whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're not going to convince them for sure.
No, I'm not going to convince. Who's going to convince David Axelrod to vote for Trump? I ask you.
Yeah, that's not happening.
No.
There were CNN did like a voter poll or like a focus group afterward to get people, just like general people's reaction. I don't know what party these folks belong to or if they're all Republicans. I don't know, but there's 3 different responses that were just of interest because they're very different from one another.
So what grade?
I gave it an A.
And why'd you give it an A?
Because it's Donald Trump. He was who he always has been. And even though with the incident that happened Saturday, he still came out as himself.
Barb?
So I gave his speech a D.
Why?
It started out great, but then he went into mistruths and grievances and attacks, and it just totally contradicted itself.
That's
in
the
terms of what
Democrat.
he wanted to achieve with unity.
Oh, the grade you gave? The grade you gave it?
I gave it an A.
And why'd you give it an A?
The thing I was looking for was a change, and I felt I heard that change in his voice. I was looking for his discussion on getting unity together in the country, as well as the border control and inflation.
Well, you can spot the Democrat there pretty easily.
I don't know. That it could have been all I have no idea.
I
Like
feel
we
like-
cannot make any
Well, when he
assumptions
said
about that.
mistruths, I'm pretty sure that guy's the Democrat.
If there
What
is one. We
What did he
don't
say
know.
that was not true in his speech? There was, I mean,
I didn't hear the whole thing, so I can't comment.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't like spewing a bunch of mistruths though. I mean, I listened to a lot of it and it wasn't like he was, yeah, I'm pretty sure that guy was the Democrat.
Eugene says, listen, Trump was speaking from a different perspective. He almost lost his life. Long or not, the speech was slated for 90 minutes. Until you have experienced a near-death situation, it's hard to understand. My name is pronounced Heger. LOL. I will never remember that, but I am very sorry for mispronouncing it. And a lot of people were saying that exact same thing, Eugene, that like people criticizing him for going long. Dude got shot in the head this weekend, yet he's standing on a stage days later telling you what he wants for America. Give it an effing rest. He can run 9 hours if he wants to. And this from a guy who beat the F out of him in the primary. And so, as someone pointed out, I have no problem with going long, but unfocused and rambling isn't ideal. I prefer eloquence. We don't have to pretend that it was great. And yes, it's 1,000% better than Biden can do, but that won't be the bar any longer soon. So I
True.
hear both of those perspectives for sure.
But once he gets to work, I think it's going to be totally different.
Disgraced Propaganda said, anyone saying the speech was too long has never watched a Trump rally, and it shows. And Guy Benson said, rally speeches for the faithful should not be the same as convention addresses for the general public, which was a good point.
Yeah.
Stu said, when you take a bullet on stage, your next speech gets to be as long as you damn well please. This is a rule.
Yep.
And Guy said, like you, that overall it was a very successful convention. Incredible stagecraft, riveting opening to his speech, and then it became a riff-heavy rally ramble rather than a focused convention address. Far too long. He cannot help himself. But I don't think that matters much. Trump and the GOP are in a position to win the election. We'll see what the Democrats do over the next few weeks.
Yep. I agree with all of that. I do. I just don't know. Like, even in the last cycle when he was president, I think that he has decent PR people. He has great PR people this time, but comms people, totally different ball game. And just because working in I just don't know who his comms people are. And I don't know if they communicate effectively to him. And even if they do, I don't know if he listens.
Right. Because he is who he is.
He is who he is.
No matter what. Right.
You can advise a C-suite person all you want, but then they can go, I'm not going to take your advice. So I just think he's probably one of those guys. Like if I were advising him and I said, hey, it should be this long, or you should do this, he could be like, all right, great. Thanks for telling me that, Daisy, but I'm not going to take your advice. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Colin Rugg said it was amazing. So he said Donald Trump tells the story about how he almost lost his life on Saturday, says he'll never tell it again because it's too painful. You are witnessing history. Less than a week ago, this man was a quarter inch from death. Today, he's giving the most impactful speech of his career. This is a new man. And that was a lot of what I was seeing in that first half hour or so.
Yep.
And so I don't know, like I haven't gone back to Colin's account after the speech was over to see what he thought of the whole thing, but he definitely was super, super impressed by the beginning, as many people were. This was interesting. Somebody was watching him watching him with the view of the words on the teleprompter, and said it's fascinating to have this view where I can see Trump and his teleprompter. He constantly goes off script and delivers long sections off the top of his head while the prompter operator waits for him to return to the script, which is very typical.
It is very typical and very interesting how he does that.
Yeah, super interesting. Let's see if there's Gavin Newsom. Boring, rambling, liar. We'll beat him.
Shut up,
I
weasel.
know. What an a-hole that guy
He
is.
is such an a-hole.
This was another one of those tweets that I saw before bed from Jason, who said this is a masterclass by Trump. He is flipping every moderate I know and many lifelong Democrats by speaking to all Americans in a way that the Democrats have forgotten how to do. There's a lot of lessons here for the Democrats, from having a positive message to building a big, non-judgmental tent and listening to your constituents as opposed to lecturing them. Take notes. There's a reason why you're getting a shellacking.
It's a great point.
I just hope that this is, I don't want to see us get overconfident like we are known to do as a party.
Oh yeah. Just listen,
You know what I mean?
never underestimate their cheating.
Right. Exactly.
Don't do that. But yeah, I do like the whole, he's talking with us, not at us.